Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Lunch with Lattice. I'm your host, Lattice. So today, we're enjoying the one and only House of Bagels. New spot, Reading, Massachusetts. Very good. Great breakfast sandwiches. They also have some lunch choices. But today, I want to tell you about the incredible and sometimes risky power of the 1031 exchange. So I recently sold another property for one of my investors, and they were going to have to pay almost $150,000 in taxes. That's almost half of their profit. Instead, they were able to use that money to buy another 5 income units without paying a penny in taxes. They paid zero, zilch, no taxes on their profits. And the best part is, they did this all legally because I walked them through this tax strategy from the IRS called the 1031 exchange. Now, if you have a great real estate agent like myself, then chances are when you go to sell one of your properties, you're going to make a boatload of money. But like any business venture, Uncle Sam is going to be there to want to share. But luckily, if you're in the US, then you can take advantage of this tax rule called the 1031 exchange. What this does is it allows you to defer your taxes to a later date, or in some cases, you won't have to pay any taxes at all. So the best way to think about a 1031 is picture Uncle Sam as a real uncle. And he says, "Look, kid, you did such a good job with this deal. I know you owe me all this money. For whatever reason, you owe your uncle a bunch of money. But I want you to take that money you owe me and put it into another investment. You know why? Because you did such a good job, kid. All right? Then you and I, we can just settle up later if you want. No big deal." So it's kind of like Uncle Sam is investing with you because he wants you to do well. But then, right when you agree, your Uncle Sam fires off a gun. Bam! You have 45 days to find the perfect deal and 6 months to close, or the deal is off. Yeah, that's how a 1031 works. So it sounds great, right? That's because it is. But there are a lot of rules you have to follow, like the 45-day rule. So once you close on the property you're selling, you have 45 days to identify the property that you're going to buy. You have 180 days to close. Otherwise, the deal is off and you have to pay your taxes. But the cool thing about this is you can keep deferring your taxes. So you can take this money, you can buy a property, and then you can do a 1031 with that property. Then you can do a 1031 with the next property. And then you keep deferring your taxes. One of the other rules is you have to buy a property that's more expensive than the one that you just sold. So if you sold a $400,000 property, you can only buy something that is $400,000, $1,000 or more. Now, it doesn't just have to be one. However, the total of those properties has to add up to be more than the property that you're selling. So, like I said, you can do this over and over and over and keep deferring your taxes. But eventually, this deferment is going to grow and grow and grow, and you're going to have to owe a boatload of taxes. If you can keep building your wealth this way, your wealth is also going to grow. So it's not that big of a deal. And on top of that, throughout this entire length of time that you're deferring, you get to enjoy the cash flow from all these properties that you're buying. And the way that investment properties work, there's typically so many write-offs that you don't really pay that much taxes on all this income. Another awesome part about this is if you hold these properties long enough and you die, your uncle, he forgives all that deferred tax, all of it. So your kids who inherit the property, they don't have to pay a dime on it. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah. But like I said, it is complicated. So anyone that's ever purchased a property, you know that 45 days is not a long period of time. So you have to find the perfect property in 45 days. And in 1031, you can identify up to 3 properties. So let's say you can't get any of the 3 properties that you identified. So you say, all right, you know what, I'm gonna buy this 4th one. Doesn't count. You have to pay taxes. Then, on top of all that, you have to close within 180 days, which that's not usually that difficult, but a lot can go wrong in a purchase. So if you don't meet the 180 days, taxes. If you don't identify 3 in 45 days, taxes. If you buy a 4th property, something not in those 3, taxes. With all these rules, it can be very stressful. I mean, 45 days, like I said, it's not a long time to find the perfect deal, especially in this competitive market that we're in. Sometimes the 45 days is so stressful that it can even push investors to buy bad deals. Not great. So the 1031 isn't for everyone. You will find that a lot of investors just don't like to do it, and they're perfectly fine with paying their taxes and taking their time to find the perfect deal. But a lot of people love to use it because, I mean, who loves paying taxes? Not me. Now, I know I said you have to pay taxes if you don't make it in that 45-day time frame. However, there are certain funds that you can put your money into if you don't find your deal within 45 days. So, for example, there's a Delaware Statutory Trust. This is a place where, let's say you can't find your deal in 45 days. You take your 1031 money, you put it in this trust, they combine it with a bunch of other people, and they use it to buy large, usually commercial real estate. This is a very passive way to buy real estate, to earn more income. For me, I don't love it only because I know I can get better returns on a property that I buy on my own versus a fund with a lot of other people that has consistent but lower returns. So a 1031 is a very powerful way to build wealth. Again, it's not for everyone. So before you just jump into it and say, I'm gonna do a 1031 exchange to my next deal, you need to have a firm understanding of all the rules. Find yourself a great CPA, find yourself a great real estate agent like myself, and we can guide you through. There's plenty of places to find information online. Do some research, but I always recommend the 1031 exchange. Thank you.